Hello, my name is Chrissie Marchant. I'm a Blue Badge guide for Southwest of England, and I'm just going to take you on a short introductory tour to Plymouth and its links to migrations and World War II and various places where people might want to come back to because they think their relatives left from here. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and take you on a quick tour through the wonderful city of Plymouth. There are certainly lots of tours that you can do, and this one's about 90 minutes if you do it in this sort of order. And what we do is meet at the Tourist Information Centre down on the Barbican, the conservation area of Plymouth. So this is the Mayflower steps here, the Mayflower Memorial, the lighthouse up on Plymouth Hoe, and the Sutton Harbour, the original sort of harbour. It's part of the Connections for Visit Plymouth project. So this is the Hoe, looking out over the Sound, Plymouth Sound. And what we'll do is we'll have a walk. Sometimes I like hats, and sometimes I'm dressed as a pilgrim, particularly around about Thanksgiving time. And this is the fairly new Anthony Gormley statue on West Hoe. So this is Plymouth, and it's surrounded on three sides by water. So the River Tamar, the Devonport Dockyard, out of the Tamar into the Sound, the waterfront, Sutton Harbour, and the River Plym. And Mountbatten here was an RAF base. There's a big military garrison here. The Royal Marines are here. This was the Royal Navy Victualling Yard, the Royal William Yard, and of course this is the dockyard. And this was why Plymouth suffered very badly during the Second World War. So what we'll do is we'll just show you a quick overview of where we're going to go. So we actually start off at the Box, which is our new revamped museum and art gallery, well worth a visit. It's free to go in, and they have changing exhibitions and things, and it's very close to the university campus here. This is the University of Plymouth, and it's quite a nice easy walk down into town from here. This is Tavistock Road. So what we'll do, we'll head down to the Mayflower Steps, which is where we'll start. And this is the entrance into Sutton Harbour. This is the Catwater and the River Plym here. And then we'll head up towards the Hoe, and this is the Royal Citadel. Been up here on East Hoe for 350 years, and then predating that was Drake's Fort here on the very east end of the Hoe. You can do public tours around the Citadel, home to 29 Commando Royal Artillery. And then we'll head up onto the Hoe, and this huge expanse, very popular with people, and then walk up Armada Way, which was this great thoroughfare that was built when the city centre was redesigned after the Second World War. The Mother Church of Plymouth, St Andrew's Minster Church, very badly bombed and repaired, but then church that wasn't repaired was Charles Church. And then what we'll do is head back down to the Barbican area, because there's lots of nice places to eat, and you could actually have a tour around the gin distillery. They've been distilling gin here since 1793, and certainly lots of places to eat along the waterfront, and fish and chips and pasties, cream teas, plus lots of fine dining as well. And the Tourist Information Office is just here near the Mayflower Steps. So these are the Mayflower Steps with the memorial. This was actually built in the 1930s and has just been beautifully restored with Portland stone and things. And you can stand out on this little balcony. And the Tourist Information Office is this little building on the right-hand side. And then if you walk out along around the Hoe, onto the Hoe, this is the big Royal Citadel, the fortress. But this Elphinstone Wharf here was part of the emigration depot. So thousands of people left from here going off to the Cape, to Canada, to Australia, New Zealand. So not only did the Pilgrims leave in 1620, but lots of people left going off to their other new worlds on the other side of the world rather than just across the Atlantic. And then as we walk up onto the Hoe, we pass the very fine main gate of the Royal Citadel, lovely Baroque architecture built out of Portland stone, the coat of arms of Charles II, who commissioned it up there, and the coat of arms of John Grenville, the Earl of Bath, the first governor. I say it's home to 2-9 Commando Royal Artillery, but you can do public tours in there on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays during the season. Just outside the gate is a Second World War 25-pounder gun. These were used in the desert. This one, I think this one is a Canadian one, but they were used in the desert in North Africa. And they did used to be the ceremonial saluting guns. And then if you turn around, you look back out towards the city centre. So we're up on this high ridge, which is Plymouth Hoe, and looking towards the modern city centre. This is where the tours meet for going around the Royal Citadel, and the dagger, which is the sign of the commandos, was made from the last 80 shells that were fired in Afghanistan. So we arrive up on Plymouth Hoe and we look out into the Sound, and this is Smeaton's Tower, very classic sort of landmark, originally stood about 14 miles off on the Eddystone Reef. And this was the stump of it, what's left out there now, and the Douglas Light, which is still out there. But also up on the Hoe are lots of memorials. So there's a memorial to all those people from both world wars who've got no known grave other than the sea. And there's about 23,000 people commemorated on there. And then a more modern memorial to the Merchant Navy, which was only unveiled in 2019. I'd say the view from the Hoe out into the Sound, sparkly. This is a winter view, and you can see the long line of the breakwater, which is about 2 miles off. Makes it a much safer place to actually anchor. And then if you turn around again and look the other way, you've got Drake's statue. He's meant to have played his famous game of bowls up here on the Hoe. And we walk down Armada Way to the city centre. Lots of different architecture on Armada Way. The revamped Guildhall, which had been bombed, and then the more brutalist architecture of the 1940s, late 1940s, early 1950s. But this is why Plymouth had to be rebuilt. This is a map of where all the bombs fell, or where they known they fell. So you've got the Hoe here in the bottom left, and you can see that the reason why we've got Armada Way now is because of the devastation that happened all around here. And one of the worst places where the bombs fell, just off Tavistock Road up here in Portland Square, there was a direct hit on an air raid shelter, and 76 people died in one night in that one bomb, only 3 survivors. And there's actually a little memorial to them now, actually in the university precinct, to all those people who died in that bombing raid. And this is the old city, so St Andrew's Church and the Guildhall and the bustling sort of shopping streets. And this was what was left. So the roofless ruin of St Andrew's Church, the municipal buildings, and over in the top left here, Charles Church, left as a roofless ruin. We lost something like 40 churches in Plymouth during the Second World War. St Andrew's Church was rebuilt, and the sign Resurgam means I shall rise again. And when you go inside, particularly on a sunny day, you get this wonderful view of all these wonderful stained glass windows designed by an architect, an artist called John Piper. And he was the person who actually designed the baptistry window for Coventry, the rebuilt Coventry Cathedral. And just that takes your breath away as well. And he's done another one for the Eton College Chapel at Windsor. And walking through town, all sorts of different things you can spot. St Andrew, the Fisher of Men, Messenger outside our vibrant Theatre Royal, and the pedestrianised city centre. This is Charles Church. Difficult to get to these days, in the middle of a roundabout, still a consecrated church, and occasionally hold services in there. But it commemorates 1,200 people, civilians, who died during the Second World War, and about 3,000 people injured. And this is the view as you're coming up Exeter Street. So modern city centre buildings, a hotel, and a shopping complex, but right in the middle of a busy roundabout. But then we'll head back down to the conservation area, known as the Barbican. We did have a castle, and the Barbican was the outer gate of the castle. But we just have New Street. You'd think new when? 1590s. So, and some lovely sort of jettied front buildings, Elizabethan house just undergoing a big refurbishment at the moment. And of course, not very far from there, on the South Side Street, is the gin distillery. As they being distilled gin since 1793, and a nice place to eat in there, and you can do a tour around and have a taste of the gin. But other things you spot around town, the sign of the Pilgrim, a scallop shell. Plymouth has been a port of pilgrimage since the 1200s, and commemorating the RAF and the Royal Australian Air Force over at Mountbatten, who flew short Sunderland flying boats out in part of the coastal command, out protecting the shipping in the Atlantic. And a fairly new statue now that just year and a half ago it was put up, November 2019, to Nancy Lady Astor, who was Plymouth's MP for 25 years and Lady Mayoress during the Second World War, but she was the first lady to take her seat in the House of Commons. And there you see the Royal Naval Memorial. So this is up on Plymouth Hoe, and she's looking out across the Sound. So that's my quick potted tour. I'll stop sharing the screen, and hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully see you on a tour of Plymouth. There's lots of different opportunities to tour, lots of different themes, and it's just it always surprises people, does Plymouth. So it's not on the general sort of tourist trail, but there's lots to see. So lovely to see you if you manage to come. Thank you.